I've never owned anything that was worth anything in my whole life. So I would like to have things. You know, simple things. I would like to have my own apartment. I like to be able to furnish it, have nice things in it, you know? Simple things that normal people have. I know that my chances for success are probably slim at this point. However, if I can keep the same mind frame tomorrow that I have right now, I'll succeed in not using drugs. And if I succeed in not using drugs, and then I'll be able to succeed in life. My name is Rabbit, and I'm 55 years old. I'm gonna bypass my juvenile career because we're not even gonna count that. In my adult career, I've been locked up off and on since I was 17 years old. I'm not sure entirely, but I think that I've served approximately 30 years incarcerated in my life. I've been to prison so many times I've lost count. I would estimate that I've been to prison at least 6 times. That's not counting my jail stays. My first time getting in trouble as an adult was in 1981, and that was the first time that I went to prison. And I went to Southampton Farm. I was 17 years old.
What would it be that caused you to go to prison for the very first time, and how long would you do?
First time I went to prison was for larceny, stealing for drug money. I served 3 years on a 4-year sentence. You know, I'm not happy about my past at all. Not proud of most of the things I've done, but the majority of my criminal activity has stemmed from my drug addiction. When I was 12 years old, I was introduced to heroin, and I started sniffing heroin. From that point on, I've been, I guess you would call it a professional heroin addict for the rest of my life.
How were you introduced?
I was introduced to heroin by people that I considered to be friends of mine back then. And from there it escalated, it got worse. I started sniffing heroin, and that didn't last long, and I turned to the needle, and it never ended. And due to my heroin addiction and everything that I've had to steal to support it, it's caused me to be incarcerated over and over throughout my life. I'm not sure I can remember all the times that I've been to prison and jail because it's just been so many. But I know that I get locked up. I serve 2-3 years for larceny, get out, stay out maybe 6 months, you know, get dirty earns, and get locked up again for stealing, for larceny, to support my heroin habit again. 2 or 3 more years later, get out, right back to the same thing, and then I graduated to the big leagues. I got a robbery charge. I did 7 straight years on that. I got out after that, and I've been incarcerated, I think 2 times since then, for more larcenies and dirty earns, for 2 more years each time, I think.
What's the longest time out here in the free world that you've remained clean?
I think the longest that I've ever been clean out here in the free world has probably been at the most no more than 60 days, if that.
And what causes you to go back to using?
I've never thought about it. I don't know. I'm not sure what causes me to go back to using. The want, I don't know if it's just wanting it. I don't know if it's feeling like I need it. I don't know if it's depression. I don't know what it is. Other than, I just know that at this point in my life now, and for the future that I see, that I don't want to use anymore. So here I am, released again, nervous, concerned, not knowing what's around the next corner. I've been home for 5 days now after doing 2 years. I'm not sure what's going to happen or how things are going to go. I only know that regardless of the circumstances or regardless of what happens, that today I'm not using the drugs. I'm staying in a real nice hotel room right now. My buddy Dave picked me up from jail when I got out, him and his dad, and his dad helped me get this motel room when I got out, and he put me up for a week. So I got a few more days left. And I went to see my PO Monday, and I got a list of shelters from my probation officer. So I'm going to look through the list of shelters. I've looked through the list of shelters already, and I've made some marks, and I've checked some of them off, and I'm contacting some of the shelters, and I'm trying to locate something where I can stay at after my time on the room runs out. I'm not sure. I need to get accepted, and I'm not sure how that's going to work. This is the first time for me, man. I've never did this before, so I've never tried before, so I just didn't care. But now I care, so I'm trying to make something happen. I'm trying to do it right. And my buddy Dave, he made all this possible right here, where I'm at right now. I met him when I was locked up, and we talked a lot. We got to be pretty close. He explained to me about the show and, everything that was going on with it. And, I was kind of skeptical because I had never heard of it before, and I didn't know anything about it, He told me it was really great, man. It was really helping people, and that he was going to keep me in mind, and that when he got out, that he was going to do all that he could to help me. And so far, man, he's really come through, and he's really a great guy. And him and his dad are like two of the best people I've ever met in my life. Had it not been for Dave and his dad picking me up when I was released from jail, I don't know where I was going to go. I was going to try to get into the Union Mission if they would let me in. I wasn't sure. I had no way to get there. I didn't have nothing. I didn't have no help from anybody or anything. I was just put out the door at the jail, and that was it. It was cold, rainy, nasty outside, and I was on my own. So that would have been a real trying experience.
What makes this time different than all the other times? You said earlier, you want to try. You didn't care before, now you do want to try.
This is the first time that I've ever really thought about trying to take a chance on real life, I guess. I've never really cared about whether or not I went to jail or I didn't go to jail, or I just didn't care. The only thing I cared about each time that I was released was the first place I had to go to most of the time to find something to get high on. with that in mind, then this is the first time that I've ever been released and not been concerned with getting high and not cared about looking for anything to get high on and not wanting to get high.
And why is that?
I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe I'm sick. I mean, maybe I'm sick of jail. Maybe I'm sick of that life. I don't feel it. With me being 55 years old now, maybe that plays a part in it as well. Not knowing how much life I've got left. I think maybe it's time for me to try to live a life, a real life. Maybe have something in life instead of always just quitting and not caring. Maybe I can build a future of some time. Maybe some type of future. I don't know. I'm trying maybe to say that I want a real life. I want to be able to do what I want to do when I want to do it, rather than be in a jail cell for the rest of my life. I've never owned anything that was worth anything in my whole life. So I would like to have things. I would like to have my own apartment. I don't want a car. I don't want a vehicle. You know, my license is no good, so it wouldn't do me no good anyway. But I mean, you know, simple things. I would like to have my own apartment. I like to be able to furnish it, have nice things in it, you know? Simple things that normal people have. I know that my chances for success are probably slim at this point. However, if I can keep the same mind frame tomorrow that I have right now, I'll succeed in not using drugs. And if I succeed in not using drugs, and then I'll be able to succeed in life. What I mean by that is that, well, first off, I've got a long way to go. I can only do this one step at a time, and I know it's going to be a slow process. And my main goal is to stay away from people that I know that use drugs. All the people that I used to hang out with, and all the people that I call my friends, get high. Even though they still might be my friends, I can't be around them. Because if I do, then I might want to get high as well. I'm going to have to stay away from that. I don't want to go back to my hometown area, which was South Norfolk, because that's where all the people, you know, that I know are from. And also that's where all the drug dealers that I know are at. And that's not a good place for me. It's not a good environment. I think that if I can just stay in a good environment and surround myself with good people, maybe, that I think I can do all right.
How does it feel to be sober and clean?
Amazing. I mean, I know what I did yesterday. I'm not sweating, I'm not throwing up, I'm not sick, I don't need anything, I'm not chasing drugs. I feel better than I've ever felt before in my whole life. And I want to feel like this tomorrow and the next day. And I want to keep feeling like this.
With the situation that you're in right now, you get released with nothing and nowhere to go, no support whatsoever. First of all, I want to start with that thought right there. A guy who's getting released, who has made many mistakes in his life. You know, what do you think is the most important thing, or what do you think is the thing that you need most, aside from sobriety, in an effort to stand a chance and be successful out here?
There's so many things that one would need, you know. I mean, in reality, you know, the perfect life would be for one to have residence, you know, have a place to stay at, and have, you know, be financially secure, have transportation, you know. That's right off the top. Those three right there are the main keys for somebody to make it with no problems. But that's somebody that wants to make it. Lots of people have all that and still don't make it. That's not the only things. There are so many more. You know, you need, you know, you need emotional support. You know? You need a lot of friends, real friends.
All right, I want to wrap this up with one final question for this take here, Rabbit, and that is, as somebody who has spent the majority of their life suffering from addiction and also being in and out of jail and prison so many different times, to any young people that you see watching this, or to any young people who might see this, who are watching this, who deal with addiction or could end up going down a road that leads to addiction, you know, what do you say to those people out there?
If you have any chance in the world of survival, of being a real person, of being somebody that you love yourself, please don't use drugs. Please.